So, I knew this movie was going to be packed. I knew it would be a long one. I mentally prepared myself to be uncomfortable. But on top of that, it's a Christopher Nolan flick, which means there's going to be film school bros there, and I hate sitting next to groups of film school bros. So I get there, I find my seat, and immediately notice little old me is going to sit in between two couples. Whew. Thank God, just two happy couples on a date night. Nope. I had one couple that was in a fight, and another couple that was in some kind of honeymoon phase. The couple that was in a fight was sitting as far apart from each other as possible, which means the chick was sitting uncomfortably close to me. But then the couple that's all over each other are basically one person, so I had room to lean. So I find myself in this weird diagonal position. Anyway, angry chick, she starts crying. Her dude gets up and walks away. Dude, where are you going? Then he comes back 10 minutes later with a bucket of popcorn. Immediately, her mood changes and she's delighted to see him. Hey, they're back in love again. They were just fighting and she was crying over popcorn. Okay, this is a story about Robert Oppenheimer and the development of the first atom bomb. Simultaneously being about Oppenheimer a little bit in the future being questioned by a board of people trying to figure out his involvement with the communists and if he is a risk to national security. The Cold War is a bit of a big deal in this. If you're not familiar with the Cold War, look it up. It's also just about the morality of developing a weapon that could save your country but potentially destroy the world and all of humanity. And the weight of that responsibility and how politicians might possibly use that power in the future. Oh, and there's some good old science in there too. Obviously, Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer is amazing. He deserves all the credit in the world for this performance. He was stone cold, he was calculated, he's a fucking patriot with a solid sense of character. Personally, I liked his thirst for knowledge and how he sought out others to learn things. The fact that he knew some of these scientists on the other side working on a similar program was a big advantage. And that's because of the relationships he developed with them over science. Just geeks nerding out over science that all end up working on bombs. The rest of this cast is just enormous with a ton of heavy hitters. You might say this cast was bomb. Gotta give a shout out to Matt Damon. His character was basically the military version of his character from Ford vs. Ferrari. And he plays that character perfectly. He's got some solid moments that remind me, oh yeah, Matt Damon's a very good actor. Robert Downey Jr., holy shit. Emily Blunt, she has a scene that blew me away. Florence Pugh, just, whoa. Casey Affleck, I found intimidating as fuck. The list just goes on and on and on and on, and this cast was very aware of what they were in and how serious this was, so everyone stepped the fuck up. You've just got this blast radius of Oscar performances all around. Even Josh Peck, he's in this. He's only in it for 5 minutes. His performance made me sweat. I was so nervous. Oh my God, it's so great. In a way that I find kind of hard to explain. Christopher Nolan yet again proves he's just on another level when it comes to movie making. This is 3 full hours of people talking, and I was completely consumed by it. The script for this thing has to be a megaton of pages. Here's the best part. Nolan successfully does something that I typically hate. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. He takes every scene and breaks it down from 30 seconds to a minute long. Normally, a movie with a ton of short scenes ends up being dog shit. But what he does is he carefully stacks these scenes into a cohesive dialogue. Now he takes that dialogue and weaves it into a story, bouncing it from before and after the bombs were dropped. It is so much dialogue, but it's quick scenes that move you along in such a fast pace, you don't even know how you're understanding everything that's going on. You just get it. I have no idea how this was moving at such a fast pace, and I was completely understanding everything going on. No problem. That is the Nolan effect. Have you heard of or know what spritz speed reading is? It's a way of reading that highlights a specific part of a word that your brain recognizes, and it increases your reading capacity from 200 to 300 words a minute. It's like Christopher Nolan somehow harnessed that and turned it into movie making. Chris Nolan spritz movie watching. If he made every scene like 2 to 3 minutes long, this would be like an 8-hour movie. The cinematography and the music also help to make that pacing work wonderfully. And this whole thing just flows together seamlessly with that thick dialogue. I've heard a lot of hype about making sure to see this in IMAX, and where the optimum seat is for optimum viewage. Gonna be completely honest, seeing this in IMAX only makes a difference for like 10% of the movie. The majority of what you're watching is people talking in a room. It is incredibly interesting, but we're not working with Avatar here. You don't need to see this in an IMAX theater. I still think you should see it in the theater though. This is one of the best movies I've seen this year. The thing that starts triggering the electrons in your brain and starts to get you thinking here is the morality of this whole thing. When I walked out of this, I couldn't help but feel disappointed with humanity and war. And even though the good guys are building a weapon to protect their home, they also built something that killed over 200,000 people so that they could end a war and become a nuclear superpower. And we're still seeing the effects of that today. It's very heavy to think about. It's not your typical Nolan mind-blowing movie. It's more of thinking about morality and being disappointed with humanity. It's a bit of a downer. Christopher Nolan did it again. And he's gonna get all the Oscar nominations, and all the actors are gonna get all the nominations. And honestly, I think everyone here deserves it. It was so good. Okay, see ya. Subscribe! So this crowded theater, it doesn't stop with the couples sitting next to me. There's a dude in a couple rows behind me. 2 times he yells, "That's not how it happened." Oh, I'm sorry, history bro. Are you trying to prove to this group of strangers that you know more than the guy that made this movie? Oh, great. Hey everyone, there's a guy back here, and he knows what actually happened. Wow! Kind of missing those COVID days when movie theaters were empty.